germ cells, so it is also called as germinal variations. So they are passed on because of the variations present in the sperm or the egg. So they are heritable, they are inherited. Then again they are of two types, continuous and discontinuous. Now what is continuous? Recombination of genetic material is called as continuous variation. Like in 11th you have done about recombinase enzyme, nodule formation during synapses of the chromosomes, homologous chromosome, non-sister chromatids crossing over and causing the recombination. So when continuous variations are there, it is all because of the recombination. There is nothing new added. Now what is recombination? Let me simply tell you a statement, a small example. ABCD can be even written in the jumbled up manner, like ACDB. So when you are using the same information but only jumbling it up, rearranging it, it is called as recombination. But what is mutation? Mutation will cause discontinuous variation. And what is discontinuous? ABCD is the information example given to you. If you add AZYBCD, then it will be called as ZY has come as a mutation which was never before. Such type of variations are called as discontinuous. I hope this is clear that variations are somatic variations and germinal variations. Somatic variations are not passed on, they are because of the environment we acquire and they finish with our death. And blastogenic are those, or germinal are those which are passed on to the next generation, and they can be because of recombination of the present genetic information, or it can be because of mutation which never came before. So that accordingly continuous variation and so which one really help in evolution? Discontinuous variation. And which one helps in adaptation? Continuous as well as discontinuous also. So I hope this small concept is clear to you. Now let's understand the next topic, because the thing is I want to first of all recap all that 11th class, all that 11th as well as 10th class things which you have understood before. Then only we can move on to the main topic of this chapter, because it's a lengthy chapter and there is lots of things to be written, so I will be consuming a lot of time also to write these notes for you. So now let's understand the next thing, next definition. The next definition, remember this chapter will be going slow, so take your good time to revise from the NCERT also. Don't submit any assignment without reading NCERT. Now next is the homozygotes. What are homozygotes? Organism which has members of a pair of alleles for the characters which are similar. So now if you remember, let's read the other one also. What is heterozygotes? Organism in which the members of a pair of alleles for the character are dissimilar. So remember capital T, small t and small t of 10th class. So same thing I want to illustrate with the help of with a diagram now. Now we all know chromosomes are the carrier of the genes. And genes have a fixed position on a chromosome, and that position is called as the locus. In plural it is called as loci. So every chromosome has fixed number of genes. Those genes positions are also fixed. So though their positions are fixed, mean their locus are fixed. Now if this is a gene on a particular number of chromosome, remember this chromosome is present in gamete. We all know gametes are haploid and zygote or we are diploid. That's why I have shown a chromosome only one time here, and I have shown the same chromosome two times here, because diploid and haploid. So on a single locus there is a single gene present. Now let's take for an example that the gene which controls a character called as height is present on this locus. Locus is the position of a gene on a particular chromosome. So a gene controlling a character is present on this locus. Let's take the example of the gene is height controlling gene. So height is a character. That character is controlled by the gene present on a particular chromosome. Now height of the pea plant, let me not take any other example, pea plant. Height of the pea plant could be from your 10th class if you recollect tall or dwarf. So this character can be of two contrasting forms. One form is tallness, the other form is dwarfness. So tallness is trait 1 and dwarfness is the trait 2. So every character exists according to Mendel, every character exists in two contrasting forms, and those forms are called as the traits. and those traits are controlled by the same gene. That means gene also exists in two forms. One form of the gene will promote tallness and the other form of the gene will promote dwarfness. I hope it's getting in your brain. So tallness and dwarfness are the two characters, and these characters are controlled by the genes. Because characters are of two forms, so the genes also should be in two forms controlling same character. That means this gene can exist either in the allele. So what is the word used for two forms of the same gene? Allele or allelomorph. So allele 1 is responsible for tallness, example only, and allele 2 is responsible for the dwarfness. I hope this is clear to you. So genes also exist in the contrasting form because characters also exist in contrasting form. This was the observation of Mendel, which you have learned in 10th class. Now please remember, characters or the traits